What's going on, everybody? I'm Rob Odie. I'm in Studio 39, aka the Bear Cave, but it looks like I'm in the locker room at the University of Maryland with them boys of St. Francis Academy. So, you know what tonight is. It's the DMV Spotlight. We got a special guest. We'll get to that in a second. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. More importantly, make sure you support these kids, man. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think about the show. Tell us what you want to see. It's all about the DMV, man. Let's get you hyped. And when I say DMV, we're not talking about just the DMV Metro. Let me bring on my guy, my co-host, Coach E, man. What DMV are we talking about?
We're talking about the states of Virginia and Maryland, and then, of course, DC, and we're talking about it in its entirety. That means Eastern Shore of Maryland. That means Southern Virginia. That means 757, Richmond, Fredericksburg, you name it. We're covering it.
Look, man, Virginia as a whole, Maryland as a whole, and of course our state capital, man. So tonight, let's set the stage. We got a couple of things happening, right? First and foremost, we got a special student athlete guest. He's from St. Francis Academy right here in Baltimore, man. So DMV's own, holding it down, staying true to the theme. So we're gonna have him on talk about his journey and why Maryland and all that fun stuff. But then we got some playoff football. You excited? I feel like you're a little excited. You over there twitching your legs and stuff, man. You excited to talk about these playoffs. So
Man,
make
I'm
sure you stick
super
around,
excited.
subscribe, support the brand, support the kids. You ready to get into it, man? Let's bring on our first guest. Let's bring him on, man. Can you hear us? Can you see us?
Yes, sir. What's up? What's up?
Look, man, and I already had a party fail. My iPhone went blank, but there's the profile. You see the name, Mr. Ryan Manning, DMV's own St. Francis Academy. I don't want to take your intro, man. How about this? You tell us formally who you are, where you're from, what you do, where you're committed to, height, weight, shoe size, shoe, favorite color. I don't care. It's your intro, man. Tell us who you are.
How y'all doing? I'm Ryan Manning. I'm a receiver. That's at St. Francis Academy. I committed to Maryland. About 6', 175.
Oh, 6 foot 175, committed to the University of Maryland. So you'll be a turpin. Terrapin. How's it? Turpin,
Yes, sir.
turtle. You a turtle. All right,
Yep.
man. Look, I'm from Maryland. I love everything Old Bay. That's me. My guy E, he loves the DMV, man. So E, let's kick this thing off, right? Ryan, talk to us a little bit about the high school career first and foremost, right? We want to talk about, you know, when did it start? Did you start coming out the gate freshman year? Did it take a little while to get your feet wet, man? Walk us through your career, and then we're going to talk recruiting, and then we want to learn. You share with the world, but we want to learn a little more detail as to why Maryland, other than it's in your backyard, but you had some other opportunities. So I'm curious as to why Maryland, and then we'll chop it up about what's going to happen when you get to Maryland. So go ahead. Let's learn about the journey first.
So I started playing football my freshman year. I could have played varsity. My brother was starting quarterback and all that, and I was doing good all 7-on-7. But my parents were all like, just play JV, get your feet wet, and then you'll be ready next year for varsity. So I was
Okay.
like, all right, that's cool. And then start off. Um, First game was a little shaky. I was nervous, of course. I was getting hit and all that. I didn't like to get hit. And then I scored the game-winning touchdown that game, my first ever game. And then
Okay.
ever since then, I scored in every single game we played except for one. Was that game we lost. And then other than that, it was a good freshman year. I had 9 touchdowns. And then COVID next season, 10th grade.
Yeah.
And then I have a season. So that COVID, that really inspired me to keep working and play football. So every day, me and my brother would go to the field, work out and all that. And then
Okay.
my 11th grade year, I just couldn't wait to get back on the field. And that's when that season, the breakout year started. So my 11th grade year, that's when I took over, got 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns, and then transferred to St. Francis and did the same thing there, basically.
All right. So look, you said then transferred to St. Francis. So I've been seeing a lot of these eighth graders throwing it out there. Top five private schools in the DMV. I'm calling. These are my top five where I'm going to call home. That I'm just curious. What made you transfer to St. Francis?
Um, First competition, and I wanted to challenge myself to see where I stand versus the best in the world. Transferring there definitely was the best decision I ever made because it changed my life as recruiting base, and it changed my life as a person off the field as well. And I feel like that St. Francis like prepared me for the next level for sure, and it's just a place to be.
Yeah, I mean St. Francis is definitely a top tier, program, right? Obviously, you guys have been nationally recognized for some time. Continue to do it year in and year out, and you said it was the best decision because on the field, but ultimately off the field as well. So that speaks volume to what they do outside of just the athletic department, man. So E, take it away on the recruiting process, man. I want to know all I can know about when did it start, where did it start, why did it start, and then ultimately why Maryland.
Yeah. All right, Ryan. So I want to take you back to last year. Right around mid December, we had Rock's 1% camp up in Maryland. That's how I found out about you. Won MVP as wide receiver. Up until that point, I believe you had two offers. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Two offers.
that's right.
Okay. So did you? Okay. So did you feel as though going to that camp is start that was sort of the starting point, and then you kind of elevated after that because it seemed like after that you started just picking up offer after offer after offer.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Definitely going to that camp, I had Howard and Alabama A&M, so I just wanted to get my name out there a little bit more, just to let people know that I'm a player they should look out for this upcoming season. So other than that, I did my thing, won MVP, and then that's what picked up my recruiting process.
All right. So then you start gaining Power Five attention, right? You had Maryland come in, you had Virginia Tech come in. Who else did you have? You had I can't remember off the top of my head.
Boston College, Penn State, Wake Forest, and all those.
Yeah, so you started, a bunch of different Power Five schools. Definitely a step up from Howard and Alabama A&M, which is what you had previously in terms of level. What stood out about Maryland? Why did you choose Maryland ultimately over the other schools?
I chose Maryland because first, obviously, is in the backyard. I want my family to be at every game. Not saying they wouldn't be at any other place, but it's right here. It's not too far from. So, I first for family, and second of all, it was the best fit for me as a receiver wise and off the field as well. And we all know the receiver history there. Stephon Diggs, Torrey Smith, um, a lot of guys, Rakim Jarrett, Dante Demas, a lot of those kind of guys. So I just wanted to be, DJ Moore as well. I wanted to be a part of that like receiver like atmosphere, like the wide receiver you type of school. So I just feel like that was the best choice for me.
All right. And did Coach Brewer have something to do with it as well? Because Coach Brewer, he followed me back on Twitter, reached out to him. Great guy. How you feel about Coach Brewer and getting ready to start working with him?
Coach Brewer, that's my guy. He definitely, ever since I first met him, he opened arms to me, and he was always honest, and he was always kept it real with me. And he's kind of like an old school guy, so he's not, he's going to tell me like what's right, and I just know because his experience and his resume. He coached for the Eagles, coached at Louisville, and all those. He's been coaching for a long time, and I just believed in him, and that was what I felt comfortable with.
All right. So last question. We talked about competition earlier, right? You're going to St. Francis. You're playing a national schedule. You're starting to go up against some of the best teams in the country. But let's not get it twisted. You were going up against some dogs in a pretty good conference before you transferred to St. Francis. So how did playing for a school like Bowie at first and going up against those guys prepare you for somewhat for what you were starting to face at St. Francis?
Um, You're right, because in PG County 4A, they don't get a lot of recognition, and in that conference, there's a lot of good players, but they're just underrated because of the name of the school or whatever it is. But I say at practice, we will always, me and my boy Chris Gill, Makai. Makai's at St. Francis now too, though. But we used to always go at it at practice during team and 7-on-7, and then he was always just like he would always bring out that dog in me. So you know. that competitive nature, it definitely carried over. I always wanted to win and stuff, so that competitive nature definitely brought that over to San Francisco.
Yeah, and Makai, I'm assuming you're talking about Makai Workman, right?
Makai Butler, he's
Makai
in
Butler.
DMV.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say Makai Workman. That dude's a beast. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
working.
I got, Rob.
All right. So we got the journey, right? We got the why as to why you stay home, why you go to University of Maryland. You mentioned some great dudes, right? One of which is Torrey Smith, who's from my backyard here in Fredericksburg. It was pretty cool to get to meet and chop it up with him at the IMG game. FYI, man, next time you catch it on the sideline, man, you gotta watch out for me. I'm a fluffy dude, man. I can't be moving real quick. He about took me out one
Yeah,
time. Nah, you're good. But it was a fun time, man. It was exciting to be able to see you play. You definitely showed out, held your own against, what some would say is one of, if not the best, DBs in the game, right? And you did your thing, man. You held your own, and I hope you're proud of the efforts that you put in. Obviously, you guys came up short, wasn't the outcome that you wanted, but you had a solid standing for your own, and it was definitely a game where both teams left it all on the field, man. There's a lot of this and that going back and forth. It was just fun to watch it come to surface and happen. Right there in our backyard. But neither here nor there. That's in the back of the mind, right? Because now you
yes,
get to
sir.
look forward to playing there all the time. You get to go to the shell on the regular. So we get to sign. Are we doing early? Are we gonna ride out the full year when we go into Maryland?
Yes, sir. I'm early enrolling, and I plan on signing on December 21st.
Okay. All right. So December 21st, we got the early signing period. You're going to be on campus. So let's learn about what excites you when you get there, man. What are you looking forward to the most outside of football?
Uh, just living in a college atmosphere, just having fun. Also being smart, but just having a good time and just enjoying your time while you can in college
No,
outside
man.
of football.
That's a solid answer. Honestly, I didn't expect that. I thought you were going to give me some real like educational piece. I'm looking forward to this. No, you kept it real. That's a very genuine answer. You're still a young man, right? You're
It's
18ish, right? 17, 18 years old at this point.
17.
So 17 years old. You get to go to college, live out your 3 to 4 years, right? Become a man because you about to be a kid to a man real quick. That's what college does to you. But you get to do all that, like you said, in your backyard with your family and friends there to support you. I think that's pretty special. But so with the football piece, what are we looking forward to? Who are some of the future teammates that you're looking forward to really linking up and build relationships with, or even maybe some current dudes that are there that you're looking to build on?
Um, I'm looking forward to just basically starting fresh, learning the game all over again. Because obviously college is a different ball game compared to high school,
Yeah.
and just learning. If I get the opportunity, make the best of it, and whether it's special teams or getting out on the field playing receiver early as a freshman, I plan to make an immediate impact. But I plan on building my relationship with Champ Long, quarterback in my class, that
Okay.
committed as well, and Ty Felton. He should be one of the returning receivers coming back out of that large group that they had, like
Sure.
Dante and Rock and all them before they leave. But yeah, just maybe Jay Sean if he stays. Just
Okay.
learning from them and all that.
I like it, man. So look, I'm gonna put you on the spot. I do this every single time. Sometimes I let you guys prep for it. Sometimes I don't. But I'm curious, man. I want to learn who you are outside the game, right? So if there was one thing that you could tell me and all the viewers that's going to tap in, tell us one thing about yourself that we can't find on your social media.
Um, you definitely will see it on my social media, but the will to like help others in need and stuff like that, or just being a community person. I do like a lot of stuff outside of football and school. I just like helping others and become better and stuff like
Okay,
that. So yeah.
my man. So look. I put you on the spot, but that's a very genuine answer. I appreciate you. Hey, E, you got anything for him, man? Or are we gonna let him show some love to his support group, and we're gonna let him get out of here because he's still got a little bit of homework to do, I'm sure, this senior year. Hopefully, they ain't let you off the hook that soon, right? But go ahead, E. What you got for him?
Man, I'm super excited to see what he does at the next level. I know he's gonna kill it. And one of the big things that I tell recruits all the time when trying to help them out is knowing what they want and understanding what's gonna come at the next level. And Ryan made it clear I wanted to stay close to home. I wanted to play for a good receiver school. Um, and he talked about how he learning the game all over again. That is essentially what you're going to be doing in college. It's completely different. So, I love what I've heard here today. I know you're gonna kill it, bro. Keep doing your thing.
I love it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So look, before you get out of here, take this opportunity and show some love to anybody and everybody that's been there for you throughout your process, right? Whether that's your mom and your dad, family members, coaches, teachers, close friends, guidance counselors, whoever it is, man. Show them some love. Take this opportunity, because your time at St. Francis in high school in general that's coming to a close. You about to be a grown man at the University of Maryland, so show some love to those folks that's helped you get there.
Yeah, and so all glory to God, but shout out to my mom, my dad, my friends, my day ones that have been there since elementary school, and St. Francis Academy and Bowie High School as well. And yeah, that's all I got.
All right, look, short, to the point. I appreciate you, my man. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay safe, stay healthy. Best of luck to you. Obviously, you're down the road, man. I'm gonna stay connected. We're gonna run this thing back throughout your college career, man. You could be a superstar.
Yes, sir.
Continue that wide receiver tradition. I appreciate you. All right.
Yes, sir. Got you.
All right. So E, what we think, man? Ryan Manning, St. Francis Academy, real good young man, solid on the field, off the field. I like what I hear, man. Obviously, I like what I saw when I got to see him in person. He represents himself well on the field, off the field, and then the fact that we just got to learn a little bit about him. I think that was a solid conversation. I think he's a great man with a bright future. So, what's your thoughts, man? Was he everything that you thought he was? I thought he was a solid young man.
Most definitely. It very few times do I get a player that it blows up out of nowhere, and then still reaches out. That's something that's hard to find in the recruiting world. He's super humble, like he said, he does a lot of work in the community.
Yeah.
Uh, and just when I went to go watch him, just looking at the detail, in his routes, looking at how he was, taking each rep mentally and how he was preparing to go up against each DB. I mean, he did not play down the competition at all. He ran every route the same. Everything looked exactly the same. And it was just incredible to see from such a young receiver because, when we turn on the film, a lot of times we just see go routes
Yep.
and quick screens. Very few times do we actually see a route running technician, and that's what he is. That's his nickname, by the way, Mr. Route Running Technician.
All right. And who was he lined up against when you got to watch him in person?
Oh man, so obviously Dante Lovett, Dematha corner, Virginia Tech commit.
Yeah.
I believe he did win some reps against them. Trying to think who else was out there for the DBs.
What ab-
Sean Gorham.
what about that fully padded session that you just got to witness at the University of Maryland?
Oh, at the University of Maryland. Oh, I got to watch him go up against Desmond Ricks, 5-star corner, reclass in the class of 23, and I got to watch him go up against Ellis Robinson, 5-star corner, number one corner in the class of 24. Now that Desmond is out, uh, and I watched him hold his own. That's a 3-star receiver going up against the top 2 corners in the country.
Yeah,
And
and like I said, he's got nothing to be ashamed of. He did a heck of a job. No disrespect to Desmond. I mean, obviously he's ranked one of the best, if not the best, for a reason. He's top notch, but nobody's perfect, right? And there was a couple that Ryan got on him for some good yardage, man. So he transferred to St. Francis to get that exposure, to get that that next level rep, right? And I think he was able to accomplish that because I mean, them boys at St. Francis, they went on tour, right? They was in Hawaii, they was in Dallas, Texas, playing DeSoto. Where else they? I think they went to Ohio. Like they went to Connecticut for St. Thomas More. Like they played, a pretty solid schedule, which is why they were able to be ranked number 2 in the country for quite some time. Came up a little short against IMG, which we got to witness, but all in all, shout out to St. Francis, man, holding it down for the DMV. Solid showing. So speaking of the DMV, right, we got more than just St. Francis, right? Because technically their season's over at this point. Playoff time, man. What's exciting in this playoff picture? Let's talk Virginia playoff picture, man, because obviously that's what we got, right? That's what we know. We can dig real deep into that, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
you're real excited. You're over there jittery about, man. Talk to me.
Man, so I want to start out with the 5A Virginia playoffs because this is going to be an absolutely incredible semifinal matchup between two games. You got Green Run going up
Yeah,
against Maury, I believe, and then you've got Highland Springs going up against Stonebridge.
yeah,
Uh, those are all four number one seeds in the 5A bracket, and the four teams that I had anticipated before the season being in this spot. I thought maybe Kempsville would end up in there, but Green Run put the absolute beat down on them in the
yes, they
last
did.
round. So those are the big games that I'm looking forward to this weekend. Don't know if I'll be able to make it out to them, but looking forward to see what happens.
All right. Well, in the event that you can't, unfortunately, I won't be at games this week or next week, man. I'm going to be in West Virginia in the mountains with no service this weekend for some family Christmas, and then next week, man, I'm going to Mexico. I'm taking a break. I'm going on a cruise with the family. So,
Nice.
let's get some bold predictions. Those couple of games that we talked about. What do you think the outcome will be, and who do you think is going to shine in those matchups? As far as maybe somebody specific, that maybe might surprise some folks, or maybe we already know who they are and they're just gonna you suspect they're just gonna show out even more.
Yeah, so the first game, Green Run and Maury. I think Green Run is one of the more balanced teams in Virginia. I think their quarterback is probably the best QB in Virginia right now, Mr. Kevin White.
Yep.
He's ranked a 3-star, but he's not being recruited as though he is a 3-star. And I just think that he's just a gamer. Just turn on the film and just watch him do what he does. He's just an absolute magician out there. He's got some dogs to throw to. Keelan Adams, arguably the best player in Virginia for class of 24. You got Tayshawn Young, who's another top receiver. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you've got guys like Milt Ferguson, uh, Tyler Baker. Trying to remember who else off the top of my head. Those are probably the main guys I'm focusing on right now. But
All
there's
right.
definitely more people on Green Run.
All right. So that's rerun. What do we got for that Highland Springs Stonebridge game?
Highland Springs Stonebridge. So I think Highland Springs is the best team in Virginia, including private schools. That when I went to go watch them at Virginia Tech 7-on-7, it was just incredible what they were able to do
Yeah.
going up against private schools. You got my guy Takai Heath, Virginia Tech commit, wide receiver, DB, athlete.
Call it what you want, man.
You got
He's all over the
Braylon.
field.
Call him what you want. He can play anywhere. You got Braylon Johnson. I don't know if he's going to be a safety at the next level with how well he played corner and how well I've seen him move at corner.
Right.
He also has a lot of film at receiver. So, we'll see what happens with that. What else we got? We got Noah Jenkins, the corner opposite of Braylon.
Yep.
That's another big time dog in the class of 24. We'll see what ends up happening with him. Just guys everywhere.
That pipeline to Virginia Tech is pretty heavy at Springs, though. I feel like the pipeline. If they've got a Virginia Tech offer, there's a strong chance they're going to Virginia Tech. Not to say that they will, but the pipeline is very, very, very strong from Highland Springs to
Yeah,
Virginia
and
Tech.
Highland Springs also has a linebacker committed to Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll say that pipeline is pretty strong. And then on the other side with Stonebridge, you got Zeke Winbush, tight end committed to Charlotte. But if you do look at the two teams side by side, there is a talent gap between the two. But the great equalizer is that Stonebridge plays very well as a team.
Yep.
They play very, very well collectively, and that's how they were able to win the big games last season and win that 5A state championship, going up against the Maury, going up against the Highland Springs,
Yep.
and competing against teams like that. So it should still be an interesting game. And then of course Green Run and Maury, that's just going to be a big time 7-5-7 Norfolk battle. Maury's got Peyton Jones. They've got LeBron Bond, Devontae Floyd. So I mean, it's just big names everywhere across both of these games.
Yeah. So let's kind of rewind it a little bit. What are some matchups that surprised you? This past week.
In terms of outcome,
Yeah, and we're talking across the DMV. So maybe my pick, right? I gotta go St. John's over
yeah,
DeMatha. That one took me by surprise. Look, I thought DeMatha had it in the bag. I had DeMatha by at least 10. And that's no disrespect or discredit to the St. John's program. But just after witnessing DeMatha in person a couple of times, it was like, you know what, like these dudes, like they want it, but then they got to the big stage and came up short. So what was it, game-winning touchdown? I think it was that sealed the deal. So it was a tight game, but that's my surprise. What do you got?
yeah. So I mean, I love the way that King George battled against Dinwiddie. I mean,
Yeah,
you look at how hot Dinwiddie was down the stretch. I mean, the way that they just beat down I believe it was either Manchester or Thomas Dale for their last game of the season.
I think it was Thomas
Um,
Dale.
yeah, I think it might have been Thomas Dale, but just to see the way that they put it on them, I mean, it was unanticipated by me. I didn't see it coming, and they were a red hot team. They were just rolling over guys in 4A, and then you run into King George, who has two of my favorite players in the country, Makai White and Chance Wiggins, and King George held their own. It was a
Yes, they
6 point
did.
game. It was a 6 point game. It was a battle. I was anticipating Dinwiddie to win by a little bit more than what they won by, but to see King George put up that kind of a fight was remarkable. And I got love. I got a lot of love for King George, so I'm happy that that was the case. A little upset they didn't win, but I'm glad it was a tough battle.
Yeah, man. So look, that is what we've got for tonight, man. I've got, like I said, I got some things coming up that's going to keep me away from some things. But I'll be tapped in. I'll be tapped in on the Twitter space. I'll have the Wi-Fi package on the cruise ship so I can stay connected. My wife might not like it a whole lot, but I'm gonna be connected. That's what it is, man. So look, Coach E, you got anything else that you want to add before we close this thing out?
No, I mean that's pretty much everything. We had an amazing guest on tonight. These playoffs, like I said, it's gonna really get interesting. It's gonna be really, really excited to see what happens with these games and to see who comes out on top.
Look, we'll be back next week talking who won, who lost, who surprised us. Might even have another special guest or two. We'll see. That's what we do here. Spotlight 39 presents the DMV Spotlight. Make sure you tap in. Make sure you subscribe. Follow the student athlete guest, Mr. Ryan Manning. He's one of your own, man. St. Francis Academy, headed to the University of Maryland. That's Coach E. I'm Rob Odie, man. This was Spotlight 39, everything DMV. We're going to close this thing out with what? The 39 Hearts Nonprofit Foundation. Make sure you check it out, spotlight39.com. It's got all the info. Till next time, man. I appreciate you.